What up, Internet? It's the team from Workerbee here, and we're ready for the first video of 2018. We hope you had an awesome end to last year and a great and safe New Year's. And we thought it would be kind of fun to look back on the last year and see what some of our favorite things were, and from products to people we started following, music we're listening to. So we're just going to sort of go back and forth. We have a list of 10 things. And share some of the stuff we loved, and hopefully you guys could pick the same categories and share some of the stuff you loved in the comments. So all of our 2018s could be a little more fun, exciting, and full of little bits of joy.
Yeah, learning something new.
Oh yeah. So let's get right into it.
Sounds good.
All right. So
and for the most part, we don't know what each other chose for
the
our
most
favorite
part.
things. For the most part.
Awesome. All right, so the first one on our list is podcasts. Podcasts have been growing in popularity for a while, but I feel like now there's a lot of new podcasts. There's like a constant stream of new ones to come out.
Yeah.
So what's the podcast that you really kind of like fell in love with?
Well, technically, I've been listening to it since 2016, but a podcast that I've loved for a while is the No Joke Podcast with Billy Scafuri and Adam Lustig. Basically, they're two comedy writers, and they choose a different topic to talk about every week. But they talk about it in the past, present, and future context of their lives. So that could be anything from birthdays to empathy to confidence to breakfast cereals, Christmas anthems, group trips,
What makes it really unique, do you think?
Well, first of all, they're just like really sweet and hilarious guys. They're very easy to listen to. You kind of, as I wrote in my review, they were immediately likable upon first listen. And they just seem very genuine, and it's always like a bit of a surprise too, because they've had so many experiences. And they're usually quite funny. And they just have like a really wonderful dynamic between the two of them. But on the other end of the spectrum, a podcast that I did just start listening to this year was the Goal Digger podcast with Jenna Kutcher. So
As Goal,
yes.
Gold Digger.
Goal Digger. And she is a photographer and entrepreneur, but she talks about anything from just creative entrepreneurship to marketing, social media. This is something that I really like to listen to when I'm working on like photos. And it'll be anything from like tips for your website to how to make an impression in social media, all that good stuff. Like there's so many episodes, so I can't even really get into it. Sometimes she has guests, but that's a really good one if you're looking for something that focuses more on business and entrepreneurship.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the one I've started listening to fairly recently, I think maybe a few months ago only, it's called What Good Games. So I think it's like 3 or 4 women. It's hard to tell. They kind of live in different places and Skype in.
Yeah.
And it's basically like video game, pop culture, news, industry news, kind of like discussion around issues in video gaming. I used to play a lot of games when I was younger and sort of just stopped for a bit for a variety of reasons, and have recently been getting back into it. So it's really great to have like a source that you can trust, where you know your kind of taste aligns with their taste, so you can trust the recommendations, because you're spending $80, $90 on a video game. You better hope it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's called What's Good Games, and I think they do like a video cast as well, so you can watch them on YouTube if that's your thing. And they're super awesome and hilarious and everything you hope for in a good podcast host.
That's great.
Yeah, so all of the stuff we're going to link down below, so don't worry about scratching notes. We haven't released our notebooks yet, so I know you're paperless.
Notebooks.
But we'll be linking everything down below, so just go and check it out. So the next thing on our list is books.
Ooh, okay. So I tried to read a lot more into this past year. If I wasn't reading, then I was listening to books on Audible, which is really convenient when you are working at the office and spending many hours editing photos. But one that I started reading because I got it from the library, and then I also had the audiobook version of it, so I kind of switched over to that, was This Is How It Always Is. Don't know who it's by, but it's basically about how a family comes together to sort of support one of their children who is transgender. So it's about a boy named Claude becoming a lovely little girl named Poppy, and just everything that the family deals with, from having to move states because they didn't feel safe, to keeping the secret from some of their friends, and then it eventually being revealed. and how both the family deals with it, largely how the mother deals with it, I find, and then also how Poppy deals with it. It's a really beautiful story. I enjoy listening or reading stories about family dynamics, and I found this both like very interesting, but also very emotional as well. So
yeah, and I've also been listening to a lot of books, as you've probably seen, especially more in the summer, going for like a lot of walks along the water and just go for like an hour, 2 hour walk, listen to a podcast, you get some fresh air, listen to an audiobook or podcast and learn something new. So one book that really stood out to me was the Einstein biography from Walter Isaacson. I didn't really know anything about Einstein other than like general Einsteininess that is in the culture.
E equals MC squared.
Exactly. And to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Walter Isaacson's biography style, but it was a really great and kind of like thorough dive into Einstein's life as portrayed by Walter Isaacson. But you really get a feel, a lot of the aura around him is like sort of like weird genius. And while that's like partially the case, it's really just a normal person sort of like approaching life in a unique way rather than being some extraordinary human being. I'm sure he would be the first to, he would be the first to say that based on books. So yeah, I'm excited. There's another, right after I said I don't like Walter Isaacson's biographies, there's another one coming out about Da Vinci. It's just like there's not a ton of biographies that are so thorough and kind of like well researched.
Because the Einstein one was really long when you were listening to it, right?
It was great. But yeah, just crazy. Also I think like a lot of us don't realize historically where he falls in and like all the world events going on at the time that he has to deal with. And like also the lack of technology of certain things, like taking a boat across the ocean to America and things like that. It's very interesting. So if you're at all curious or just want like an inspiring biography about a really creative person that sort of like carved their own path against a lot of odds, check out Einstein by Walter Isaacson. So the next two are kind of product-based ones. So things that have entered our life or we've purchased or been gifted to us that, I don't know, have been useful or interesting or fun. So we did it in two ways. First one's going to be under $100 and the second one is going to be a product over $100. So Beck, what's your under $100 product?
So my under $100 product is actually a backpack. It's by the brand Anello, which is from Japan. It's a smaller backpack, but it comes in all different sizes. I got it for our trip to New York that we took in July. I like to like have all my things on me. It was also going to be really hot when we were in New York, so like we could throw in, some like hand wipes or like a change of shirt. But since July, I've pretty much been using it like every day anyway. It has kind of like a doctor style, so you zip it all across, it opens up. Even though it's a small bag, I find that I can fit a ton in it. And I've also got a ton of compliments on it from both like strangers and family members. Like one of my cousins planned on buying it so that she could use it as like a diaper bag for her kids. It comes in a bunch of different colors and materials, and it's just been really useful. And it's super cute. It retails for about $79.99.
Yeah, so it's actually for like a leather backpack. It's pretty, I feel like, relatively inexpensive and well priced.
And even though like mine's like a creamy white, it stayed really clean, and like I try to take care of it, but it still looks in great condition ever since having it since July. Yeah, that's my under $100 purchase. So
my under $100 purchase, which I should have looked up the price for. I think it's like around $30, but there's like a whole variety of them. You don't have to get the one. We'll link to one below. It's like an LED light strip that you attach. We put one behind our TV. It plugs in through USB right into the TV and turns on and off with the TV. And basically, as you can see right now, it gives you this kind of like nice backlight that kind of helps improve contrast and like reduces eye soreness. We also put one as sort of like a pocket highlight type thing on top of our bookcase. And I really want to kind of redo my desk a little bit, put one behind my computer as well. Just find when you're working late or when you're dark, it's nice to have some ambient light.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's also nice to pick the color of that ambient light from day to day.
Yeah, because it changes colors.
Yeah. The next one is over $100.
Awesome. So my over $100 purchase is actually my Fitbit. I've been really enjoying using this. This is the Alta HR, which means heart rate, because there is one without the heart rate monitor and then one with the heart rate monitor. I had an old one of yours that I was wearing for a couple of months, but unfortunately it started to fall apart. This one is really sleek and thin. Because it is smaller though, it doesn't have as many functions as a larger Fitbit, such as like number of stairs climbed or flights climbed. But it, it monitors heart rate, it monitors steps. You have your watch in there, obviously. But one of my favorite functions of the Fitbit is probably tracking your sleep, because like you're definitely getting a lot less sleep than you think. What I've noticed is that if you go to bed at a certain time and wake up at a certain time, you're like, yeah, I got 8 hours, but usually it's about an hour less.
Yeah, usually at least an hour, yeah.
And so it just really demonstrates that you might need to like tweak your bedtime a little bit if you're looking to get more sleep. But one thing I would recommend is not getting the orange band. I wanted it just as like a little cute pop of color, but within just a few days of having it, it was already starting to get dirty and like just really dark.
Yeah, I have like the bluish gray one, and it literally looks exactly the same as the day I bought it. So
yeah, don't go for the orange band. But otherwise, it's been a really great purchase. It's very comfortable to wear even at night. And I think this one, I got it on sale, but
definitely go on sale pretty often. It was like about $120.
$20,
regular like $160.
Something like that,
I think it was like $129 or something from like...
So I got mine during Black Friday, for example. Yeah, that's my over $100 purchase.
Cool.
I really like it.
My over $100 purchase was a PS4 Pro. So I grew up playing, this kind of relates to the podcast earlier. Yeah. I grew up playing a lot of PC video games. Once I started kind of like working on a Mac, there's not really any games other than like a select few made for Mac. So I sort of fell out of it and didn't have a console, just kind of stopped playing games, played a lot of iPhone games. Yep. But I really want to get back into it, something that feel kind of like really inspiring, and also you learn a lot. It's very, I don't know, it's like a good break.
Yeah, good way to relax at home.
So, and I really wanted to see like what was out there. So I got the PS4 Pro, and I also, like my favorite game so far that I've played, if you're gonna get it and get like a game with it, I would highly recommend getting the remastered version of The Last of Us. It's just like an incredible cinematic story about this young girl and this guy who kind of like through a series of events end up trekking across America together in a sort of, there's like a disease outbreak, and they have to like make their way to this one place. And just like the amount of different landscapes, the voice acting, the cinematography, it's like a really, really beautiful game that if you've been away from games or haven't always loved video games, it might be a really great thing. And I think the game came out a few years ago now, so the remastered version is for like the PS4 Pro. It looks beautiful, so highly recommend The Last of Us. So what's next? All right, music.
Yes. I am just getting the name of the album.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have two things to talk about. So a new band that I discovered this year is called Kruang Bin. I believe it means airplane in Thai, but they're just a instrumental band from the States. They're super groovy and very laid back. They've been described as a Thai funk band, whatever that means. Obviously, they take a lot of inspiration from 1960s and 70s Thai funk and like jazz recordings, I'm assuming. I don't know. It's just like really groovy. It's a great album to put on in the background. I purchased it on vinyl so that we could play it at home. Eugene's come to really love them as well. And they are releasing a new album this month, I believe on January 28th or 26th. Yeah, I don't have enough good things to say about them, especially if you like kind of more jazz, funk, a little bit of R&B music. It's just a really lovely album.
It's great to throw on while you're working too. Yeah. Just like a nice, calm, ambient, beautiful sort of soundscape.
Yeah, exactly. And the album that came out 2 years ago, or in 2015, is called The Universe Smiles Upon You. Why don't you talk about your next album and then we'll come back.
So my song, my album that Becca doesn't know, it's by a brand new Toronto artist. It's just kind of like, let's call it a mixtape, Young Clancy. So you probably haven't heard of Young Clancy, but it's on Spotify, so check it out. It's actually the son of one of my thesis advisors in university. And it's just kind of like really great. It's got that sort of like Toronto sound that Drake and Friends pioneered.
Yeah.
But it's like really groovy.
Yeah.
I think he's starting to do shows.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a unique album. Check it out. There's only like 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah,
but
so
they
it's
are
a
catchy.
quick listen. But he's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So my other favorite music of 2017 was the last Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings album. It came out in November or December, and Sharon Jones actually passed away in November of 2016. Which was very sad for me because I just really admire her and I've seen her several times. It was one of the first dates that we went on was a Sharon Jones concert. So it was very sad when she passed away after a long battle with cancer. But this was an album that the band worked on during her final year. And it's the most concise album that they've had in a while. It has a really great lo-fi recording to it, but the songs are really strong. The instrumentals are strong. And there's not a lot of, I don't want to say duds or anything, but all the songs, just pretty much all the songs stand out to me.
All bangers.
Yeah, with a Z. Because on previous albums, there were, the singles that were really fun, but other songs just kind of maybe fell a bit flat. But this album, Soul of a Woman, is fantastic. Matter of Time is a great song. Rumors is a great song. And Girl, You Gotta Forgive Him is one of my favorites as well. So yeah, really wonderful soul recording dating back to the 1960s sound. The Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings Soul of a Woman album.
And there's a documentary about her on Netflix.
Yeah, it's her journey
what's it called?
With Miss Sharon Jones. Yeah, and it's about her journey with cancer or dealing with cancer. Be prepared to cry. It is a sad one.
Awesome. So the next one is our favorite Instagram accounts. We follow a lot of Instagram accounts. We use Instagram a lot. So there's hundreds, if not thousands, of amazing accounts that we could probably mention. But these are kind of new accounts to start following, or kind of something different, or just something we think you should check out if you're kind of interested in us. You'll probably be interested in them as well.
Yeah.
So what's yours?
Someone that I started following this year, I had heard about him in the past, is Jesse Driftwood. He is a Hamilton-based director and videographer. He doesn't post to his Instagram feed that often, but he posts to Instagram stories daily. And they're just really fun to watch. Because he is a director, they're all very cinematic, and there's really smooth cuts, but it'll cut from him being in his studio to being in his house or walking around the streets of Hamilton. He's always up to some sort of creative project. He shares snippets of his family life or a new assignment that he's working on or a wedding that he just shot, but he's super positive. Just really fun Instagram stories. And
really
I'm just
cool editing style.
Yeah, I'm just mesmerized by the edit.
Check it out.
Jesse Driftwood. Check him out.
Cool. And mine is a brand new account. I think there's only a couple posts. But a friend of ours, Dory, she does the kind of, I don't know, she's in advertising and does design, kind of product design. But for a long time, she's been making kind of weird,
very unique objects.
Small, unique objects. And she's been doing it sort of under her own name. But she finally started a company to kind of manufacture them and make them available to more people. And it's called Wask, W-A-S-K. And you really have to see them. One of them is a one-time use eraser that's literally this big. And then a bunch of other weird stuff. So there's more and more things she's going to be posting. She's just getting started. But if you want just a burst of freshness and delight in your feed, definitely give her account a follow. This is the time to get on the Wask Dory train.
Yeah, basically how I've described Dory's work in the past is she's someone who's had an idea, a crazy creative idea, and then she just makes it happen. Because a lot of them are physical products, from really unique business cards to interesting paper clips. You would dream it, but Dory makes it happen. So that's a great recommendation.
How did someone think of this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, check it out.
Awesome.
So next along the social media line, we're going to do our favorite YouTube channel.
You go first this time.
All right. We've been watching, we got heavily into YouTube maybe a couple of years ago, watching it and really.
Yeah, 2015.
Now it's pretty much almost all we watch other than movies on iTunes or Netflix. But my favorite YouTube channel I've been watching it for a while, but I think last year definitely spent a lot of time watching it, is Tested. So for those of you who don't know Tested, they are a channel about making things, creating, 3D printing, games, sculpting, model making, and it's co-run by Adam Savage from the Mythbusters and Norm, Norm's the founder, and then Adam kind of came up. They combined it, and now they're even more awesome. They have a whole team. If you've heard of Simone Gertz, who does Shitty Robots, she's part of it. Basically, there's something for everyone on there. They're putting out tons of content.
Yeah.
They go to a lot of like show off cool maker spaces, people who make weird art things, a lot of like behind the scenes for films and movie prop making.
Visit a lot of conventions like Comic-Con. Adam will like often make like a crazy costume, everything from, I think he did Chewbacca.
Yep.
He's done Totoro, which was adorable. He was also the bear from The Revenant, and he had like, he was dragging Leonardo DiCaprio behind him. And those are often part of his one-day builds.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
the one-day builds is sort of like he'll make something from scratch. So like the replica blaster from Blade Runner, for example. So he'll go from sketching it to measuring to, you know, cutting using a lathe, machining things, sewing, basically, and then all of a sudden, you have this like beautiful, realistic thing. And if you don't know, I mean, I'm sure you know the Mythbusters, but Adam used to work originally like on the original Star Wars films. So he has that whole experience, can sort of like make anything in the shop, and it's 50-50 like in the shop and then other hosts outside and kind of like in the studio. They have a ton of podcasts as well. There's a whole like tested website with even more content. So it's great, like really positive community to dive into.
Yeah.
It's yours.
So my favorite YouTube channel of 2017, and there are lots, but I had to decide on one, is Sorted Food. So it's a British cooking channel, and I did start watching them right at the beginning of the year after they had Grace Helbig and Mamrie Hart as guests. That's how I was introduced to it.
2 more awesome YouTubers.
Yeah, kind of classic YouTubers. Basically, it's hosted by 4 guys, Jamie, Mike, Ben, and Barry. And they like to say that there's 1 chef and 3 normals. But really, it's introduced you, I think their goal is to just make cooking easy for everybody. So every week there's a new topic. So they choose a different food item that they'll focus on, and they pool their community. So they get suggestions from Facebook and Twitter, and in the YouTube comments for like ingredients that they should incorporate or new techniques they should try. And we've taken on, or we've tried like several of the recipes that have now become part of our weekly menu in a way. But they're really fun. They're really sweet guys. And it's always very entertaining. So sometimes they'll do like weekly battles, but they'll like dress up as characters that were inspired by the meals that they're making. And they always have like really great guests. And I look forward to their videos. They put out about 3 a week. And then they also have like seasons. So Fridge Cam is one show that they have, and that'll run for like several months, and then they'll take a little break to film new stuff. But it's great. They're London based. Sometimes they go out into the city to try new restaurants, or they'll pick one food item such as like fish and chips and try it at like a very low price point, a medium price point, and a high price point. So yeah, definitely check them out. They are one of my favorites.
Cool. Well, next one's an app. What's your favorite app?
Okay. So one of my favorite apps from this year was introduced to us by our friend Craig Adams. He did a video about it actually. So it's called RNI Flashback. So it's a photo editing app. So RNI means really nice images. So it makes your images look real nice. And basically Flashback includes like a lot of older films. So, and it's a really like sleek and minimal app. You just kind of press the button and it'll just automatically change the filter on your photo, and then you can go in and tweak it. So you can add more grain, less grain. You can add like dust and scratches if you want, and do all your brightness and contrast from there. But I've really enjoyed using it. We also have the RNI Films app, I believe.
Which is my favorite app.
Amazing. So I'll let Eugene talk more about
They
that.
really should be all in one app,
yeah,
to be honest. But the RNI Films one, it's about like old film stocks.
Which is also what Flashback is about, so I don't understand.
But yeah, I don't know. It's not like the cheapest thing once you start buying more packs inside, but if you're using Instagram constantly, it's a great way to give your images like a good starting point and a specific look. So yeah, check out, I don't know, whatever. There's like a free version, I think, for both of them, and then you can like buy additional ones. So give it a try. It won't cost you anything. Obviously, we both like it a lot.
Yeah.
And we're photographers, so we know what we're talking about.
I hope so.
All right, on to the next thing.
I liked this one.
Great.
This was a good one that you chose.
What, experience?
So, yeah.
All right. So what was your favorite experience in 2017?
Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, we went to New York in July, which was really nice because we hadn't been there in 4 years. And we packed a lot into the weekend.
So far, we released 2 videos about it that we'll link below that you can see.
Yes, and the third is about my favorite experience. So I think on our second last night, we went on a sailboat ride, a sunset sailboat ride on the Hudson, which was absolutely lovely. I'd read about it on a Cup of Joe blog, which is one of my favorite blogs.
It's not like a tour.
No.
Which a lot of people assume, I think, right away.
Yeah, no, definitely not a tour. It's
just a
relaxing experience. You can bring food. So we actually went to Chelsea Market beforehand and got some like cheese and crackers and some pasta.
The port that it leaves from is just around.
Yeah, it's like a 5-minute walk from Chelsea Market. And they do 3 rounds of drinks. So you can have beer, wine, or soda. And you just sail down the Hudson. And you go past Governor's Island and the Statue of Liberty, which was amazing because I've never been so close to the Statue of Liberty. I got a little emotional. It was just so beautiful. And it was gorgeous because the sun was setting over New Jersey and it was like beaming in the Freedom Tower and all of the downtown and shining on our faces and making it feel so good. And it was incredible. Also, never been on a sailboat before.
Yeah, me neither.
And so just seeing the crew work and having like the waves splashing against the boat was just really, really amazing. And I highly recommend doing it to anyone who's visiting New York. They do all different kinds of tours, but ours was the sunset sail. So that was definitely a highlight.
Really cool. So my favorite experience was also water related, but about
R&I films.
This year, this time last year or so, I went scuba diving with my father for the first time. So he's been scuba diving for a few years now, and is like quite advanced. And they go scuba diving, like travel and go scuba diving all the time. But I had never been, and I wanted to go on more kind of solo trips with my parents. So that was the first one. We went to Cozumel in Mexico. I did my certification in Toronto, and then finished it on the resort there. But it was like a diving resort, so everything's kind of like prepped. But it's like a really, really unique and sort of undescribable experience. We have a video as well, so you can click the link for that. But honestly, if you've ever even considered doing it or it's something you wanted to do, make a point of like getting a certification and then booking a trip. It's truly one of the most unique things I think you can experience. It feels very similar to how I imagine like being on the International Space Station, like floating around would feel. The way the animals interact with you is just unreal. You think they'll all be kind of like scared or running away, but they're all very curious about you, just like you're curious about them. And you'll see them kind of swim by and then stop and look at you for a minute and then continue swimming. And it was a really incredible experience. I think we did about like 8 dives or so. Did a night dive where you dive with a flashlight, and got to see like octopus, the whole different kinds of animals come out at night. We saw little nurse shark, and a lot of rays and just all sorts of animals. It's crazy. So if there's something like that you've sort of been putting off, really I think make a point to sort of like take those first steps.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Final one.
Last thing, what's your favorite project that you worked on last year?
So my favorite project is a project that we did together, and that was photographing the Broadview Hotel.
Nice.
Because for a couple different reasons. One, obviously the hotel is gorgeous. It was designed by a design agency, and they did a really amazing job. Beautiful colors and textures on the different furniture.
And a lot of other like local teams contributed, from like wallpaper designers to mural artists to
graphic design on the menus and stuff like that. So I think this was like the first big project that we photographed together.
Yeah. So
that was a really interesting experience. Eugene has a ton of experience photographing interiors, but I've always had an admiration for it. So he was kind of, though I was shooting my vignettes, Eugene was really great at pinpointing certain things to me to look out for, like certain textures or how a light was hitting an object. So I really appreciated that. And it was 2 very long, full days. And we just basically ran around the hotel photographing it and meeting the staff, and it was just like a really terrific experience. Yeah. And it was about like a day or 2 days before we went to New York, so it was awesome to like have 2 crazy days of work and then to take off on a trip and just
no guilt, just like.
Yeah, and we'll spend time together, and the trip was for our birthday. So
yeah, and they also have the loveliest staff. Our contact there, Aaron and Justin, are both amazing, and they have this incredible view from their patio. And just every detail is really thought through,
Yeah, and it kind of kickstarted us shooting together.
Yeah.
So here's to more projects together in 2018.
Perfect.
So what was your favorite work experience?
My favorite project, also we sort of worked on together, and it was our coffee cup video about why you should use reusable coffee cups and just how bad single-use coffee cups are.
Yeah.
Most people don't really realize how much waste they produce. And I think it was kind of like a different format we were trying out where sort of identify a problem and then provide like an actionable solution, an immediate actionable solution for that problem that you could just solve. You could just stop and solve that problem within your own world in one day. I think the feedback we've gotten from that video has been so incredible. People from managers of coffee shops coming to tell us that they're trying to convince their owner to get cups or change the cups they serve them in. So many people messaging us, coming up at shows.
A lot of people sharing it on Facebook, which was really appreciated.
Yeah, tons. So I really want to try, and we also like scripted it out. There was like a lot of really cool and unique edits. I think Jesse Driftwood is like you mentioned was like one of those kind of editing style that
transition.
There's like a bunch of people, but like inspired that to explore that more. So I really want to shoot more of that. If you haven't checked it out, this is the video to check out that we made last year. And let us know what you think. If there's any other kind of like thing you feel passionate about that you think, hey, it would be cool to have a really cool video like this to inform people and try to get people to change kind of like collective action, let us know and we'll like put it in the pipeline. So one thing I just want to let you guys know about is we're sort of relaunching our email newsletter to make it really try to make it more helpful for people like us, independent creatives, freelancers, small business owners. And the first thing we're doing is like a monthly email that sort of frames a common problem we all have and gives you more actionable advice to sort of start getting past that, and then share some of the things that, like exciting things we've come across from things we read to books we're reading, music we're listening to. I think we're also going to start sharing Spotify playlists that we create. Becca makes a lot of awesome Spotify playlists.
Pressure is on.
We're going to be opening it up through our newsletter. So the last link in the list of links in the description is that subscribe, where you can subscribe to the email newsletter. We have hundreds of subscribers right now, but we want to keep it growing. You know, give us your feedback for what you need help with this year. We really want to make it about sort of like helping you and helping each other grow this year. So if there's any problem you're facing, anything you're not sure about, or just want to quick like bounce some ideas off someone, send us an email. And we'll do our best to try to help as many of you as possible.
I look forward to reading it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, thanks a lot for watching.
Yeah. We're looking forward to seeing you more in 2018.
Yeah. So hit that subscribe button. We're going to be posting a lot of videos. We're at Worker Bee Supply on Instagram, where we also do a lot of cool features. And please let us know what you are excited about. We're always looking for new things to read, new things to listen to. So at the very least, leave a comment with your favorite like YouTube video or podcast or book or something.
Or reach out to us on Twitter. We want to use Twitter a lot more this year. I use it personally and I love it. It's a great way to connect with people online. So if that works for you, send us a tweet.
Yeah, at Worker Bee Supply everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.